All right, let's talk about the Hunter Biden's laptop and the incredible gaslighting of anybody that's conservative or anybody that has like two brain cells. Now, I must make a confession. Maybe 12 years ago, I wasn't really politically active or I didn't know much about politics, but I used to listen to NPR a lot, and I have to admit my life was a lot smoother and easier because now being red pilled and just knowing the things I know about economics and politics, it just reading or consuming mainstream media, it's so aggravating, and you're just feeling like you're being gaslit all the time and complete fabrications and spin. I mean, don't even get me started about the Russian invasion of Ukraine. I mean, the coverage on that, how atrocious it is from the left, from the mainstream media. But case in point is the Hunter Biden laptop. Now we have uh, example A and example B. Example A is the Steele dossier, which now you can see how all these power structures are aligned. Steele dossier was complete fabrication, just complete bogus shit written by Democratic operatives. But the quote unquote intelligence department, or all these intelligence agencies verified it, and then they ran with it, and it was on every single front page of every media. Now the Hunter Biden laptop, which was pretty hard to I mean, they tried. I remember getting into an argument with somebody online, and then I was talking about the laptop that they just found, and they're like, "This sent me, oh no, it's debunked. Here's an article from Snopes. They just debunked it." And I clicked on it. There's like pages and pages of crap. It's like, you don't need to read pages of crap. You know this is false. You know this is a real laptop. Why? Because just common sense. Just common sense. The first huge clue is they didn't even try to deny it. Even in a hypothetical scenario, if it was some Russian-made laptop, and Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, they knew that Russia fabricated this laptop as to derail Hunter Biden's campaign, Joe Biden's campaign, which, by the way, is just it just completely just like fucks with your brain, because during Obama's term, Putin took Crimea. During Trump's turn, you'd think he got Russia hacked the election and got his buddy Trump into office. Then they should have took all of Ukraine because their guy was in charge. But no, Russia didn't do anything. But then when Biden's in charge, then they invade. So just it's complete opposite of what they're saying. But anyway, back to the laptop. It's like if this was a fake laptop, they'd at least deny it. They never denied it. Joe Biden, what he said is, instead of denying it himself, he'd try to be slick and say, well, 50 intelligence analysts said that this was whatever. He never said, that's a fake laptop. His son never said, that's a fake laptop. They're always like, well, intelligence personnel say it's fake. It's like, well, just say it. Is it fake or not? Don't worry about what they're saying, because they're a bunch of just Democratic shills. But anyway, I mean, even the most basic person that has like any kind of brain, you could think, oh, okay, well, if Russia is so powerful to create, I mean, just think about it. I mean, obviously, for Russian intelligence, English is not their first language, but they're so good. They planted this laptop. They took like just all sorts of porn and perfectly tracked Hunter Biden's face on all that porn, and altered all these like nudes and whatever images, and put Hunter Biden on all that. Not only that, they wrote emails imitating Hunter Biden perfectly. And then somehow, when the recipients of those emails, when they were contacted, they corroborated that yes, those are the emails that Hunter Biden sent to us. That's genius. You might as well just surrender to Russia at this point, because they have technology and they're so good. It's this like alien-like. Well, clearly, clearly it's all bullshit. Obviously, it's a real laptop from a crackhead. But the whole thing about Hunter Biden being addicted to drugs, no, I don't care about that. That's not the issue. You know, people struggle all sorts. People struggle with depression. That is not the issue at all. The issue is, one, the whole cover-up, and two, clearly that Biden interfered on behalf of Burisma to stop a whole bunch of investigations. Burisma basically bribed the Biden family. Now they don't want to give money to Joe Biden directly. That would be a huge red flag. So they hired his son, and his son obviously gave 50% or whatever. That's how it works. It's laid out right there. This is how American politics work. The influence game, clearly. Now, with a whole year, like a whole year and a half has passed. And now you can see that like the liberal page of Vox is still trying to spin it somehow. Now they're back to the corner. Even New York Times admitted, okay, that's a real laptop. I mean, our readers are pretty stupid, but it's okay. We have to touch reality with at least with one pinky toe or something, But but look at this. I'll read the article. In the reference to the controversial October surprise that came out just before 2020 election. Oh, by the way, so this comes at a backdrop of when Trump won, the media was blamed for this because the whole email scandal or whatever, like even the Hillary's scandal about her being investigated or whatever, that they think that caused enough disturbance and enough outrage that she lost her winning margin, and they vowed to never do this again. So now this election is going to be fortified, and no matter what bad news that comes out about a Democratic candidate, they're going to suppress it until well after the election. Well, it's been a year, 2 years, and here we go. Now the plebs can know. Or can they? They're kind of admitting it. So yeah, maybe that was a real laptop, but we didn't need to. This is how they're going to try to spin it. No media organization is obligated to run any kind of opponent research or whatever, bad news about a candidate. Well, hello, even though it's clearly that it's Rudy Giuliani who works for Trump, try to clearly derail Biden's campaign. Yes, that's true, but don't the voters deserve to know? I mean, is this democracy, right? Shouldn't the voters know as much information about both of the candidates as possible so they can make a real choice? Or you're fortifying the election and you're guiding the voters, because that's the end of the day. That's what they do. That's exactly what they do. They are subtly, or sometimes not so subtly, try to mold public opinion into their direction. And you can clearly see that. And circulated to other conservative outlets, resulting in negative stories about Hunter Biden's business and personal life. Democrats and their allies cried foul, arguing that the materials may have been faked, stolen, or leaked. Well, there's nothing about leaked. They publish leaked stuff all the time. As part of the foreign intelligence campaign akin to the Russian government hacking and leaking Democratic emails in 2016, the mainstream media generally treated the materials with caution. No, that's bullshit, a complete blackout. And perhaps most controversial of all, Twitter and Facebook blocked or restricted the links posted to the Post story. I don't know how much damage that actually did, where, yes, they did. Twitter, New York Post created a story, and they, you couldn't share the story on, even if you're sending somebody as a message. I think they try to block it. I mean, but that was crude and stupid, and obviously they didn't do that much. They didn't prevent much spread. What really was the issue is, well, first of all, a lot of the people like Twitter and Facebook, there were like ex-Biden campaign employees that were on the board. So of course they put the brakes kibosh on that. But I would say the biggest problem is the media. The media could have ran some stories on this, and of course, like NPR or whatever, they did like a 5 minutes, like a 2 minute segment, like, yeah, there's a laptop, but it seems like BS, seems fake. Okay, anyway, moving on with the like that type of just to say that they just touched the story, but they just dismissed it, and that's journalistic malpractice completely. Now, conservatives interpreted last week's Times report as belated concession that the leaked materials were authentic and that they're taking a victory lap. The Times finally admits Hunter Biden's reveal. Technically, the Times only vouched for certain emails they've authenticated. Well, what are the chances that the rest of them are authenticated? Are you saying this is a fabricated laptop still, and they sprinkled in like a couple authenticated emails, but the rest are fake? Is this going to be like a war of words? Like you have to authenticate every single dick pic that Biden took and authenticate every single email? What a joke. People familiar with them and the investigation, but the Times reporters also said the cache of files appears to have come from a laptop Hunter abandoned at a computer shop, leading forward without quite endorsing the long question account of how the material got out. This is all quite obvious. The Post coverage was controversial, including inside paper. The New York Times, one reporter refused to put the name on the story due to credibility concerns, and the Post staff questioned whether the paper had done enough to verify authenticity of the hard drive's contents. Yes, even though they're tabloid, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to verify it. The modern leak genre of mass disclosure of a person's emails, texts, and other electronic materials presents a challenge for journalists. How do you prove the material's authenticity? You had no issue with the Steele dossier. You ran all that stuff. Oh, they got around it. Here's how they did. They couldn't. Obviously, it's all fake. But once fucking John McCain or whatever gave it to BuzzFeed, and then the intelligence agencies started a quote unquote investigation on that. Well, now they can run it. They never needed to do any kind of authenticity on the Steele dossier. So just because somebody in the government still, opened up an investigation, well, that's the green light. Hunter Biden is being investigated. Obviously, I don't think a lot of these investigations are going to be going forward while Biden's president, but who knows what's coming in the future. But clearly, they don't need to authenticate. I mean, one, these are easy emails to authenticate. And two, nobody was advocating that the New York Times publish every single video and dick pic and image and email from Hunter Biden's laptop. There were only some emails that are very, very important. Well, how would you say? Well, Hunter Biden's not running for president, so what is it like? Well, he has a lot of emails that implicate the father, that he's selling influence to his father, and his father's doing something, and then he's collecting the checks. Like, how hard is this? Obviously, they're being, this is all, they're being really stubborn or stupid on purpose. What is genuinely newsworthy in a dump of private information? So the vice presidents and the guy who's running for president, his son is on a board, a Ukrainian board. He doesn't know Ukrainian or anything about energy, and he's getting paid millions of dollars to get access to his father, and that's not newsworthy. I bet you if Trump's son or anything, even like Trump's second cousin had anything like this, they would definitely publish it. Media outlets, for the most part, didn't block anything. There was ample coverage of all this in the conservative press. But the conservative press has some reach, but the biggest audience, they were blocked from it, albeit more slowly. In mainstream media outlets, there's no obligation for media outlets to run with conveniently timed opposition. This is translated. We are not obligated to run anything that makes our preferred candidate look bad. Only Mother Jones, Yahoo News, the dossier. Okay, so they're talking about the bullshit Trump Steele dossier. For example, media outlets did not cover Steele dossier allegations before the 2016 election. Only Mother Jones and Yahoo News did. Dossier itself was eventually published by BuzzFeed after Trump won, following January. So the liberal media, I guess they try to hold on to the dossier because they couldn't corroborate it, because they thought it was too politically explosive. I doubt it, man. I'm not going to attribute any kind of fairness or any kind of good motive to them. They were just looking for the opportunity, for any opportunity to publish it immediately, even though that was the most uncorroborated, the most, like, you can't, none of those facts could be ethically or journalistically published, because there's zero corroboration for any of that. Some commentators did go too far in asserting that it was part of a Russian plot when the evidence hasn't emerged to back that up. Obviously, the Biden campaign similarly sought out to cast doubt on the story by alluding that it could be a Russian misinformation. No, why don't you say that the intelligence agencies or the intelligence personnel were covering for Biden by coming out and saying it has all the hallmark signs of Russian disinformation, just like they did when they claim that they have evidence or proof that we looked at it and a whole bunch of intelligence agencies can prove that Russia hacked the email server, Clinton's email server. And then when they had to testify under oath, they basically said, we don't have any evidence. They just folded. This is where it comes to the real dispute, which hasn't just about whether emails were faked or real, but about what they show. Trump allies have insisted the leaked material proved that Joe Biden was corrupt. Even if you think that's what's being covered up, of course, it seems outrageous that the mainstream media wasn't devoting more attention to it. But that case is weak. So here, where the spin begins, they're not going to talk about who, quote unquote, the big guy is. I mean, there's a video of of Joe Biden firing a corruption prosecutor that was investigating Burisma, where his son happened to work. Hunter's email contained a whole lot of embarrassing and arguably newsworthy material about himself and the shady foreign business and interests of the son of the potential next presidents are certainly worth topic of media coverage. Oh, now you're saying it. But as the Biden who was actually on the ballot, there was very little from him personally on those messages. Yeah, because you have to read between the lines. The messages clearly said that they can't use the word Joe Biden. They can't use the word Joe Biden, so he said the code word was like big guy. And he was giving 10% or whatever, a certain amount of money to the big guy, obviously. But if they're gonna play dumb here, of course. Other than exchange where he confronts his dependent drug-addled son. Emails don't demonstrate mainstream media because, at least so far, they don't have the goods. Again, just bullshit, gaslighting. If this was like a Trump or like a Trump son's email, they would not only report every little detail, they would even spin it, a gazillion times more.